When you lift up the economic status of women, you lift up the economic status of families and communities and all of society. But yet in America today, women for the same work, for the equal work, on average make 80 cents on the dollar.
You have 2020 hopeful Senator Kamala Harris taking aim at the pay gap between men and women at major American companies. And she's making it a focal point of her campaign, now releasing a plan to combat the issue by fining corporations 1% of their profits for every 1% in the wage gap between workers of equal value. She says that this could generate roughly $180 billion over the next 10 years. And Liz, I'm going to go to you first, and I want to know, do you believe that this is the right way to tackle this issue, if you even think it's an issue?
A, I think the issue is way overblown, but B, this is not the way to tackle it. She wants to impose a giant new compliance regimen on corporations, imposing all kinds of costs and regulatory red tape on companies which were trying to remove red tape from the economy so it begins to grow faster. There is already a law in the land that equal pay must attach to equal work. Women can sue. They can bring these charges forward. I don't know a major corporation that is not concerned about this and very vigilant in trying to reduce what is supposed to be a pay gap. The pay gap results from all kinds of things in women's lives, including taking a time out to have children or to, care for an aged parent, etc. It's a very complicated issue. This is not the way to go about fixing it.
Yeah, I mean, what nerve, what unbelievable nerve of these. I mean, dictator might be too strong, but these leftists who want to come in and force. I mean, again, a tax, a fine, that's force. That's a gun pointed at private companies. Force them to do business how they want to do it. Pay their employees how much these people want to. It's easy to pay employees higher wages when it's not your money. When we talk about a free country, it means free from government. And I just think it's a tremendous insult. This is essentially affirmative action for women. I mean, what an insult to women to say, oh, we're going to force employers to give you a higher wage instead of actually earning it on your own.
Jonathan, if you were making $20,000 or $100,000 or $200,000 less than a female counterpart, would you be angry if you were doing the exact same thing, had the exact same education?
If I was doing the exact same thing and worth the same amount, I would be making the same amount as the female counterpart.
Right, but often that's not the case.
I would be making it.
That's often not the case.
My three favorite words, we the people, continues to shrink every time I watch these Democratic candidates. Just go and listen to their speeches. It's another fee, it's another fine, it's another rule, it's another mandate, it's another regulation, it's another tax. It never ends. They want to run everything in their life, and if they deem it unfair, they're going to fine you and take money away from you. They don't generate the money from you. They confiscate the money from you. I wish they would just stop and remember those three words, we the people. That's the greatness of the country, not we the government.
And contrast this with what Ivanka Trump is doing, using her platform inside the White House to work with companies to address inequality issues, to help raise the training, the education, the opportunities for women, for minorities across the country and actually around the globe. This is an opportunity to work together, not come down from the top down and as a government, to the earlier points, to tax at the point of a gun to say you shall do this or we shall take your money from you and spend it better on your behalf. It's just such an interesting case to show how the Trump administration is using this and how Kamala Harris is doing it.
Mark, I think actually the entire panel kind of agrees with this, that the enforcing regulation is not necessarily a good thing. But to Liz's point, if we want to know what's going on, then should there be full transparency so at least we know that a man is not making more than a woman with the same quality or education,
I think most companies provide a great deal of transparency today. But you have to remember, again, if you compare two people, a lot of it has to do with longevity. A lot of it has to do with how many years, in other words, a person has been in a company. I mean, if you look at the actual data, I really just don't. I really disagree with Kamala Harris that this is a big issue, and I definitely disagree with the 20-cent difference. That is more than people were talking about several years ago, and I cannot imagine with all the laws out there that it actually has gotten worse.
I think
Jonathan,
that's been fact-checked as false twice today already.
Jonathan, go ahead. I know you wanted to say something quickly.
Yeah, and very briefly, I mean, even if men do make more than women, and I mean, I don't know, you can somehow run these statistics either way, it's simply not the role of government to micromanage the economy, to micromanage those changes. And actually, I think, Christina, it does a real disservice to people to get a higher wage because they're this skin color or because of this gender. If you get a value, you have to earn that value for it to really mean something. And again, I just think it's an insult to any woman to say, oh, I'm going to give you a wage. Why? Because you are a better employee or worked harder? No, because you have a uterus? That's terrible.
Okay. I agree with you, Jonathan, and I'm going to leave it at that for this segment.